Joining us now, without further ado, Mr. Coastal Carolina himself. He represents the 3rd District of North Carolina, that is the coast, and he is a Republican. Walter Jones, kind of a maverick, kind of beats to his own drum, but he's under 55. Walter Jones, good to have you with us, sir.
John, good morning. I'm over 55, but I'll play the game as long as you want to. But I will tell you, I watched the World Series last night. Pulling for your team, went to bed in the 6th inning. They were up 1-0, and I said, "Oh Lord, let me wake up with a victory for Houston." But anyway, you just told me I need to go back to sleep.
Well, tonight I like our chances. I like Lance McCullers Jr. And look, we bombed Yu Darvish a couple of days ago, I think, back in Minute Maid in Texas. So I like our chances, but I can't go through another one of these 2-1 games in the 10th inning. I want about a 7-0 lead, about top 5, and then I'm good, right?
Well, are they playing in L.A. or playing in Houston?
Los Angeles.
Tonight?
Yeah, L.A. again.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. L.A. again. So, the Astros much tougher at home, but, momentum is in baseball. It's not like basketball, Congressman, like you played. For
right.
Those that don't know Walter Jones, he was a star shooting guard for Hargrave Military Academy. He's renowned there, revered. There's pictures of him all over the gym, and his nickname was the Golden Arm, just so you know. This was before they had 3 points. So basketball, like I coach basketball, momentum's real. I mean, you get it, it's
right.
real. It can change a game. Baseball, momentum is only good as your next day's starting pitcher. That's
gotcha.
It, one day. So we'll see what plays out. Let's get, Congressman, the Trump tax plan. What's the deal? We talked to Tom Garrett earlier. It was supposed to get rolled out today. Now they're saying tomorrow. But then Tom Garrett says the Republicans are trying to whip votes, and you don't even know what it is. How do you do that?
Well, my concern's the same as Tom. I tell you, we're having a conference at 9 o'clock today, and the subject is supposed to be the tax bill. Now, we're not going to see the tax bill, but according to what I heard this morning driving in is that Mr. Ryan is going to give us some of the very important points about the tax bill. So I would hopeful that they're putting something in printed form, meaning sheets of paper, not a bill, that we can look at as he's talking and certainly put it on the screen. But right now, I don't think they've got a final version of the tax bill. I don't know what Tom said, but I don't think we have it yet. I think they're still working it. They know there's some opposition to it. They know there's some support to it. And they're not going to get a perfect bill. And I hope that comes out in the conference today. Go ahead and get it out. Let's have the debate, and let's have the fight.
Let's get it out. I mean, I think until it comes out, we don't know what it is. So we don't know what to fight over, and we don't know what's good and what's bad, and we don't know where the lobbyist and the swamp is going to line up until we know exactly what it is. But we do know that the swamp creatures will be swarming the Capitol, right?
Absolutely.
We do know that. They'll be swarming it. So I guess we find
out of the swamp.
We find out today. The Mueller investigation, Congressman, right now, indictments on former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, campaign operative that Manafort brought in, his protege Rick Gates, also this young fellow George Papadopoulos that basically was a volunteer, had no really impact in the campaign, had no authority whatsoever. What do you make of it so far?
Well, I'm like most members of Congress in both parties, not all, but most. Let's just let the special counsel do the job that he is supposed to do, and let's get this thing in front of us, and then let's get it behind us. I don't know. I have not been able to follow the day in and day out like some people have been able to do. I just have had other things on my plate. But I want this thing, I want the American people, I mean, when we had the testimony in the Senate yesterday of these three executives talking about how they put ads on the internet paid for by the Russians. I mean, we don't need the Russians to be involved in our elections. This has nothing to do with your question, John, but indirectly it does. We need to figure out, and with technology, you know this better than I do, there's no way to fix all the problems in technology. It is a different world. And so for me personally, let's just let the special counsel do his job. Certainly we can comment on it. We can have pros and cons discussions, but let's just let this thing develop and go through the process, and wherever it comes out, let's just see where it comes.
That's the bottom line, right? Let's see where it comes. Right now, though, a lot of money being spent, a lot of jumping up and down, a lot of statements by Democrats. But right now, Congressman Walter Jones, no collusion, no evidence of any wrongdoing by anybody that was had any authority in the Trump campaign. No meetings set up by these emails, nothing. All we have is innuendo. And Mark Warner keeps saying over and over, well, where there's smoke, there's fire, but there is no fire so far.
Well, we haven't seen any fire, and again, that's why I think let Mueller do what he's supposed to do and go through the process, and Senator Warner and Senator Burr, and we have a House committee looking into this. And I think, again, John, the majority of people, I think I'm safe in saying it this way, I don't want a foreign government to dictate who my next president is. And I'm not saying he did with the Trump campaign. I'm just they did with the Trump campaign. But we need to know the bottom line and see if there's any way that we can oversee the bottom line or fix it. That's what I hope will come from this.
Now, authorization of military force, AUMF, General Mattis, General McMaster of the Skies, General Kelly running around that White House, going on the record and saying, you know what, as far as Niger is concerned, we don't need any stinking AUMF. We already got that authorization. We have to do our job. We have to fight these battles. We want to go on that. We don't want to go back to Congress. We don't want to debate it because we're generals and we ought to be able to send our troops wherever we please. We know best. Reaction.
John, I mean, I'm going to tell you that they might feel like everything is fine, but those of us in Congress, and you have some from Virginia feel the way I do, we have a constitutional duty that has not one thing to do with the opinions of the men you just named. The constitutional duty is based on our Constitution, Article 8. We in Congress have the authority, not even the president. We have the authority to debate war and to vote for war. And these people that, I have a lot of respect for General Mattis. I want to get that up front. He said 3 months ago, I have the article, that he told the Senate that they needed to have a new AUMF. It was the Armed Services Committee under John McCain. And he told them that. Now he's changed his position. Well, we all change positions. I have many, many times. So I'm not faulting him for that. But we're talking about the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And the Constitution is very clear. It is, Madison said it clearly. I'm going to paraphrase very quickly. It is the legislative branch that has the authority, not the executive branch. So here we go again, and 4 Americans killed, and Americans all over the world that you and I talk about frequently, and it's just that we in Congress have been almost like in a political coma. We just let it go on and on without challenging the authority that has been given to us by the Constitution. So we let the authority be in the hands of the executive branch. It goes all the way back to Obama. It's not just President Trump.
Well, here's the bottom line.
It's disgusting. I mean, people, they're going to keep dying, they join the military. They know the risk, but they also believe that Congress has the authority to say, yes, you in uniform, you need to go fight for this country, and we don't do it anymore.
Congressman Jones, it was only due to the tragedy of our 4 Green Berets not coming home from Niger that the American people even found out that we were there.
Absolutely.
Many of the senators that were interviewed that day didn't even have any idea what the mission was or why we were there. The fact that you can find the information is not what matters, because that was the argument I had with somebody else a week ago. Well, you can go on the internet and find the information, find what the mission is. Well, I mean, no one knows. We have become callous in this country. We have become callous to war. It's like we're in a perpetual war in the United States.
Absolutely.
Everybody makes a lot of money off it, right? The military-industrial complex, many of those people making the money off these wars, right? We're in Niger with 1,000 troops. They have to be supplied. They have to have weapons. They have to have water. They have to have equipment. They have to have food. They have to have transport. All of that is jobbed out to contracting companies making hundreds of millions of dollars, many of them on no-bid contracts. They take that money. This is called a swap. They take that, and then they donate it back to the various political action committees of Paul Ryan and others to ensure they get reelected. So that's why. And the only thing that Tim Kaine, Senator Tim Kaine, and yourself and others are asking for is for a debate. Let the generals come to Congress, lay out their plan, and debate it. And if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass.
It's so frustrating that this week, I'm not going to say the names, but maybe next week I can. We're having a meeting with a constitutional lawyer and a member of Congress who's a Democrat who served in Iraq. We're meeting with this attorney tomorrow, and to see what are our legal opportunities to challenge in the court system our constitutional duty to debate. I don't know if it has any potential or not, but we're going to talk to a constitutional lawyer. And then what we're going to have to do is to go to outside groups who believe that we should be debating to raise the money to pay for legal fees. I mean, it's crazy. We ought not be doing that.
It's ridiculous. I mean, and by the way, just Randy in Chesapeake says, hey, just remind the congressman that it's Section 8, not Article 8 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
So we thank Randy for that. But here's the bottom line. The generals and the Trump administration and Paul Ryan and the other congressional leaders, Mitch McConnell, they do not want a debate on a new AUMF. You know why? Because it will not pass. It will not get authorized. They can't make the case. It will lose. That's why they don't want the simple debate. I'm out of time. John Fredericks Radio Network. More information, walterjones.house.gov.